I want to bring in CTV's royal commentator, Richard Berthelson, who joins me from our downtown Toronto studio. Richard, how damaging are these latest statements from the prince's accuser? And are we learning anything more from anything new, really, from Virginia Giuffre?
Well, I think we're about, by my calculation, about 2 hours away from that interview actually airing in full on the BBC this evening. So until we've seen the whole scope of it, it's difficult to say. But, you know, as expected, and from the teasers that the BBC has issued in the last few days, of course, this young woman is alleging that this all took place, that these events occurred while she was with Prince Andrew. And so we now have the case of we have him on the very same television program on camera saying that this absolutely categorically did not take place, and her saying it did. So I don't really find that there's anything particularly new aside that we have her saying this. Now, it's not clear to me whether her interview took place before or after that of Prince Andrew. I think it may have taken place before. So Prince Andrew was obviously asked questions directly arising out of that, and he categorically denied it.
Yeah, the interview took place before, according to my producer, and also from reports that I was just reading prior to this. So it's coming down to a he said, she said, obviously, Richard, but the damage has been done. What more can Buckingham Palace do to mitigate the bad publicity? And what is it specifically that Ms. Giuffre is looking for? An apology?
Well, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not sure it's just a he said, she said. I mean, Prince Andrew is not usually out and about either in London or in other places alone. He has police that are with him. Sometimes it's foreign police. He sometimes has staff with him. There may be people that have direct knowledge of these events. There may be people who don't. I don't know that. So it is a little bit more than that. There also is the figure of this Ghislaine Maxwell, who is purported to be the individual who fixed up these individuals to meet with Epstein and with others of his friends. So we haven't heard from her. That's a possibility. I think that short of a police agency exonerating the prince, there is going to be always the case that these allegations are going to be out there. And let's remember that going on television does not necessarily mean you've taken a lie detector test, or does it mean that you've been sworn in to testify and tell the truth in that sense? So we don't have that full information at this point in time. I think that there is big questions around Ms. Maxwell's involvement in all this, and what she has to say will be pivotal in all this. Andrew's own records and those records of the Metropolitan Police will be central. And let's remember the Metropolitan Police in London declined to investigate this matter further. So there's that element as well.
What about U.S. investigators?
Well,
Richard?
U.S. investigators, what they're looking into is not entirely clear because the key perpetrator in this is deceased. So they can't lay charges against him. Now, as for Ms. Maxwell and what she did in the United States, or what Prince Andrew did whilst he was in the United States, that's a different matter. And he may be asked questions, or he may be asked questions as a material witness. And he has indicated in his previous statement that he would be providing those statements if he was asked.
I think you're right about Ghislaine Maxwell being the key to this. And I'm just curious, wondering, and I know you don't have the answer, but why she has not spoken out, or why she hasn't been investigated, or maybe she has and we just haven't learned yet.
Yeah, we haven't, and I think probably she is taking counsel from her lawyers in that regard, and she's dealing with situations in multiple countries, so it's a very complex matter for her, so she probably feels that there's no need for her to speak out because she'll speak out in court if she's summoned to do so.
Richard Berthelson, CTV's royal commentator. Good to talk to you, Richard. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.